But first, this is the election loss the coalition needed to have. After spending 20 of the past 26 years in power, the Liberal Party had lost sight of who they are and what they stand for. The broad church had become incoherent, contradictory, and often just a confused imitation of Labor. No policy shift better demonstrated the Liberals' incoherence than the commitment to net zero. A harebrained political strategy from a supposedly centre-right government, which was designed to diffuse climate change as an election issue, but it did precisely the opposite. It emboldened Labor, the Greens and Simon Holmes Court's Teals, and prevented the coalition from arguing against the madness of adopting policies that will reduce reliability while increasing prices. Given the energy crisis in Europe, including the UK, where net zero policies and the transition towards a low carbon economy have seen prices soar to astronomical levels, and that was before Russia's invasion of Ukraine made the situation even worse. The coalition could have run a powerful campaign on why prices and reliability are far more important than emission targets for this country. That's what they did successfully in 2019 in what was called the climate change election. But this time, they adopted Labor's policies and could not argue against what they themselves were pledging to implement, just in a slower fashion. Meanwhile, the party's most left-leaning progressives lost in spectacular fashion from Higgins to Wentworth. But don't expect that inconvenient fact to stop leftist media from arguing that the Liberals must lurch further to the left to win back power. Advice so diabolically dumb that if adopted would see the federal Libs become as unelectable as the WA and Victorian Libs. In order to hold on to a handful of affluent inner-city seats, the Liberals compromised their core values and policies and ignored the opportunity in the suburbs and regions where cost of living was the number one concern, not climate change. The decision to embrace net zero meant the coalition could no longer provide an alternative to the climate change policies pushed by the left, where emissions are prioritised above energy, costs and reliability, and also prioritised over jobs. And it's important to note the impact in Australia of net zero would be even harsher than what is happening in Europe because we don't have nuclear power. We've got a crazy ban on nuclear power. As Senator Matt Canavan explained on Outsiders yesterday, the coalition lost this election because they forgot the forgotten people.
We have forgotten the forgotten people. We forgot the quiet Australians. The electorate hasn't changed all that much in 3 years, but we did in the last 3 years. We adopted a Liberal moderate platform on energy, on climate, on the culture issues, and that platform has failed. It's failed again. It failed in WA, it failed in South Australia, and it's failed nationally.
Senator Canavan joined Senator Alex Antic and other Conservatives in calling on his parliamentary colleagues to ignore the leftist media's calls to move further left and to focus on what people care about most, cost of living. The coalition must stop adopting Labor's policies. As Senator Antic said, the party's experiment with the poison of leftism and progressivism must be over. Of course, no Conservative wants to see the coalition lose to, well, you don't want to lose an election, particularly right now with the challenges this country is facing. But Conservatives across the country should today be thanking Simon Holmes Court for helping to rid the party of its wets. In the long term, that is good for the Liberal Party, it's good for our democracy in providing genuine choice at the ballot box, and it's good for the country.